Sup fellow humans, I'm W4MP3 and this is the 10th episode of TheProject, the show where I explain how to not make a ROM hack. Today I want to do something different, really different. I'm going to show you how I code. Yes, you heard me right, I'm going to show you how I do things for Super Mario World. Keep in mind that I have to explain code to people without any coding experience and keeping it somehow interesting, which is a whole can of worms I'm opening here. Also today, SMWHacking Turnier 2, Runde 2. For this episode I've written my progress down like a diary, capturing my thoughts and feelings. Also quick explanation why I'm not talking about the first round. It wasn't really interesting and poorly planned on my side. I still tried to fix it and I actually did finish editing it, but I wasn't satisfied with the result, especially considering this is a milestone episode. If you are now for whatever reason curious, link for the dropped episode in the description. Anyways, this is TheProject episode 10, Tournament Edition. Okay, the theme is frei wählbares Level Gimmick. In English this means free selectable level gimmick. This is one of the worst things you can get for many reasons. First, you need to decide what general level theme you want, and because there are too many to choose from, you are kinda paralyzed on deciding on one. Second, you need a level gimmick, and guess what? There are too many to choose of those too. Really bad. So for the first day I was spending most of the time just figuring out what to do. After a while I decided something with layer 2 because I never tried to do a proper level with that feature in mind. This also reduces the amount of things I have to think about. Here we go. The first thing we need to do is to decide what theme of level we are doing. We need something that has a good reason to have layer 2. Cave. Oh, no cave. I did so many cave levels, I need to do something else. So we're doing a cave level again. Just kidding, we're doing a beach level with a big wave on layer 2. We will also use the Yoshi wings to go to the last part of the level. For this day I just made the first iteration of the background gradient and parts of the layer 3 background. I'm really happy about how it looks, especially for the little time I did this in. The next steps for tomorrow would be the parallel scrolling and maybe even begin to build a bit of the level. Okay, let's go. Today I want to get the parallel scrolling working. Guess what I didn't get working this day? The worst part about that is I don't know why, because I have no idea how HDMA works. Just a quick overview what you can do with HDMA in no particular order. Color gradients in the background, the spotlight effect in Super Mario World, splitting the screen into multiple parts, parallel scrolling, which just means some parts of the background scroll faster than the other, giving the illusion of depth, perspective with mode 7, and wavy backgrounds. You can do more with HDMA, but these examples should suffice to understand what is possible. Anyways, still a very productive day. I basically finished the layer 3 background without the parallel scrolling and created some graphics for the level. I also added a simple rain effect cluster sprite. The tiles I mapped to the star because by default the cluster sprite uses Mario's feet and it shouldn't rain feet. To make the rain rain I ExAnimated the star tile with rain tiles. I also coded some stuff here, but that is not interesting, just a block that teleports you if you're riding Yoshi to force the player to go with Egg Friend. Again, the parallel scrolling doesn't work and now I know why. I ran out of HDMA channels because the gradient in the background uses all three channels. So parallel scrolling will not work. Well, it won't work because I don't know how HDMA works, so now we have to botch. The layer 3 background scrolls now like a regular background and I replaced the parallel scrolling with ExAnimation, which does not look perfect or might be not good for later when we implement the big wave on layer 2. We might even run into some slowdown with this due to the massive amount of ExAnimation used. Also, I still need to do the graphics, custom blocks and generate code for the big wave. So I am now explaining what I have in mind and how this should work. On another day in the diary I will show you how I actually have done it. The whole wave is consisting of 6 phases. Let's go through all of them. The first phase is the idle phase. Nothing really happens here except that I am counting frames. After the timer has run out, we enter phase 2. Show a warning symbol for some time. Basically the same as the phase before, but you see that the wave is going to come. After the wave timer has run out, we start showing the wave building up and move it slowly to the left. That's our phase 3. Then in phase 4 we accelerate the wave a bit and move the wave slightly down. We also lock the camera while that is happening. If the wave has passed the player, we go to the next phase. We need to move it down or left of the screen. Whatever looks better, or we make it randomly and have both movements in there. After that we enter phase 6, which resets the wave position to the idle state. With that we have the states of the wave. Now we need to think about what the wave is going to do when something touches it. For that we use a custom block which does many things at the same time. Firstly, let's talk about how the player should interact with the wave. If the player is not riding Yoshi, then the player should stick to the wave and push to the left and maybe downwards. The player will also fall through the floor unless he touches something to the left of him. Then we will let him live unless you haven't been pushed into a block. With Yoshi you can go through the wave easily. Your speed will be at most half of the maximum running speed and you won't fall through floors. It will still push you downwards though. Enemies will interact with the wave too. Water sprites will be pushed upwards, smaller enemies like Goombas will behave similarly to the player, and bigger foes can resist the forces of the wave. Platforms might be able to ride on top of the wave like a surfboard. So now I have the plan, let's implement this in Super Mario World and maybe cry because it doesn't work that easily. Today I just implemented the wave phases and written down this paragraph. One bug I already encountered: after phase 3, when the wave is moving and the camera is locked, the camera jumps after I reactivated the horizontal scrolling, producing fun garbage tiles or earlier parts of the level. So that needs fixing. I already have a good idea on how to handle that. And I tweaked the layer 3 background a bit. It looks a bit better than before, but I'm not 100% satisfied with it. Today we're coding the custom block. Yes, a singular block. That one has to do many things. First, it needs to destroy fireballs. While Super Mario World allows for fireballs in water, we're going for a bit more realistic outcome. Well, the top of the wave is going to make the fireball bounce, because I'm lazy to figure out how extended sprites work. Sprites will stick to the wave, no surprising behavior here. Mario will only stick if he's not riding Yoshi. You are able to swim out of the wave, by the way, making this less dangerous than it is. Because of that I increased the size of the wave a tiny bit. Well, all this surprisingly took only about an hour to make. Well, short day today, I didn't want to do much more today. I didn't really specify yesterday what I needed to do now, so I decided to fix smaller stuff today. Well, I said I want to smooth out the clouds in the background, and that's what I did. Then I worked a bit more on the wave. This was more or less preparing the wave to look better and easier to draw graphics for later. Also for the wave blocks I've made them act like water, so water sprites can float in them. As a bonus this will slow down the player a bit. I experimented with the brown floating platform. I thought they would get destroyed, but instead they moved only a few blocks. This is actually not what I intended to do, but it gave me some ideas. I built a part of the level and searched for some music with rain sound effects. I also had to make the underground background again because of my shenanigans in the last round of the tournament. Well, while I was at it, I did the whole underground section. With that we are about 1/4 of the level complete. Tomorrow I will do at least 2 things. Make the level up to the midway point and code the Yoshi upgrade system, which I will shorten from now on to YAS. What the YAS is, I tell you in the next day. Oh, and I did some parts of the overworld, and that's something I can do tomorrow too. So we're doing the YAS. The first thing I tried didn't work because Yoshi's kinda weird and just setting the Yoshi color variable in RAM doesn't do anything. So what do I do? Well, let's borrow some code. I bet somebody has already done something similar like that. After a very quick search I found the Yoshi switch blocks by Dippy. Dippy? Because it's even more poorly documented than my code, I had to figure out what the block actually does to make it work. Now I know what to do. My first attempt did actually work, but it didn't change the Yoshi color. Fixing that is easy. We just load the sprite properties, add the Yoshi color and store the value back to the sprite properties. I also changed a bit the order of Yoshi colors, making it a bit more difficult to get the blue Yoshi. I actually decided to do a secret exit with the Yoshi Wings level. You'll have to ride Yoshi up to almost to the end of the level and grab the wings from a question mark block. There is also the last Yoshi coin to collect, so you get a proper blue Yoshi after the level. I will also remove the Yoshi Wings from Yoshi if it isn't blue, just in case I want to build a small level in the Yoshi Wing level section. Well, that had me to look into this assembly of Super Mario World to check out how Yoshi is able to fly in the wing level, because just setting the wings to disable didn't do the trick. Short version, flying with Yoshi is handled by Mario, not Yoshi's code. Squeezing in my code was pretty easy. Hold up, did I accidentally fix a bug? Yes, I did, and I don't know how. Normally when you want to eat something while flying with the wings, you will temporarily lose the ability to fly and drop like you didn't have the wings. It's now fixed for whatever reason. Anyways, after that adventure I've built one more screen of the level. That's at least something, right? Yeah, really cool title I did here. Some days I'm not really motivated to do anything, really. Maybe tomorrow I'll be better motivated to do stuff. At least I've built the second fourth of the level. How many days to go? 6. Oh, we should hurry up. This time I want to use the last 3 days as a buffer for testing and tweaking. So today I did the warning message thing. Doing that I had really stupid issues. First the sprite won't show up at all. Then it showed up, but it did that off screen instead of the top right corner for some reason. I basically gave up at this point and just have put it on the top left corner of the screen, because there it works and I should do anything else than wasting my time right now. In hindsight this was pretty good, because in that way it doesn't block the view on the right side of the screen. Next thing I did was implementing the sound effect for the wave. Did I mention that I'm really bad with audio stuff? Oh yes, you already knew that because I've put it in the description many times. So I had to figure out how to make this work without screwing up the sound effects. Well, I can screw up the sound effects because waves can be really loud. I've decided to do 4 sound effects, basically 4 volume levels of more or less the same noise sound. It sounds like crappy noise currently, but it is implemented in the wave code. For today that shall be enough, especially considering I just sat here for multiple hours fixing bugs and guessing how the noise command works. Okay, this day I just do one simple thing. Place the midway point and do the whole part after the midway point. Really simple, I know. So let's just talk about the little cave sections in this level. What are those for? Well, for one I wanted to be absolutely sure that nothing weird happens with the layer 2 and the outside parts. The second reason for them is to give the player a small break from the waves. There is a third reason, but that one is a bit weak. Yoshi coins are there. Speaking of Yoshi coins, we need to store the amount of those after collecting the midway point. There are some patches for that, but I just want something super simple and not very smart. It just needs to remember how many, not which coins have been collected. Guess what doesn't exist? Exactly that. So plan for tomorrow, midway point saves, Yoshi coin count and placing all sprites. And if I somehow am still motivated, drawing a very simple version of the wave graphics so I at least have something somewhat presentable. Let's just hope the coding doesn't go weird like with the warning sign sprite. Today I placed the sprites up to the end of the level, then checked if everything works as intended. Guess what doesn't work? The warning sprite is still broken. It stops displaying at the second screen, but hey, it at least still plays the warning sound effect. Fixing this was super easy. Keep the warning sign sprite always on screen by putting the coordinates to the same as the player. Afterthought, I forgot that I can check process when off screen in the sprite configuration. Yay! Then I coded the midway point Yoshi coin save thingy. Well, it works. I hijacked the function where the midway point is set to set the amount of Yoshi coins collected and the object code to do something on level load. It is working really well, except one little problem, which is not relevant to the SMWHacking Turnier, but would be in a regular hack. I don't save which level that Yoshi coin count is for, so you could theoretically collect Yoshi coins in one level, exit it after collecting the midway point, and then go back to the other level and keep the amount of Yoshi coins you've collected from the level before. Anyways, while testing I found something interesting with my Yoshi upgrade system. The blue Yoshi can always fly, it is not dependent on the Yoshi wing level. Oops. But I don't need to care here, because he will go basically to the Yoshi Wing stage if you collected all Yoshi coins. Also, I have found a bug with the music. Well, with the ambient rain sound. If you pause the game, it will stop playing forever. This is a bug that I cannot fix. I tried some things, but nothing really worked, or it made the rain sound more repetitive. So, what did I do to work around this? Remove the pause function. Pretty simple actually. There is a variable, so you cannot pause and unpause the game for a certain amount of time. I set that in the level to be always 1, so you cannot pause anymore. I don't care if it is missing in this case. In a normal hack this is absolutely forbidden. So I am done for today. Tomorrow I'll be making the wave graphics and maybe the last part of the level. Today we should be done with the level, as in we can properly finish it and it looks like it is done. For the last part I needed to make a new gradient for the background and also some cloud layers to make it look a bit more realistic. As far as I know it does not rain above clouds, so no rain cluster sprite here. I also made the part to the secret exit, nothing really special here. The Yoshi Wings level part is now more like a regular level. Instead of leaving the level if you fall into the pit, it just behaves like a regular pit taking one life. I wanted to do something with the wave graphics today, but well, tomorrow is not the day I want to do that. I actually wanted to playtest the last 3 days to make the level better. Oh well, tomorrow the wave graphics will be done. How the frick do I draw and animate waves? Making water look good in general is really hard, and because I'm definitely not an artist, this is going to be hell. Well, we can cheat a bit by using our favorite search engine and look for references. Or better, look up a video of waves, because we need to make it move. I looked at about an hour of footage of surfers riding waves. That was tubular. Back to serious things. How the frick do I make animated waves look at least okayish in the style of Super Mario World? I have no idea. No, seriously, I don't know how. Also, how the heck am I supposed to do this right with ExAnimation? Do I need a rotating palette or ExAnimator tiles? So I decided to split the wave into 3 parts. The beginning part, the wavefront, and the falling part. Let's do the beginning part first, that should be the easiest part. For that we need at most 4 white grayish colors, plus maybe 4 blue colors for water. This was my first try. Looks already weird, but it is a wave somehow. I took a small drawing break and redid the noise of the wave and fixed the garbage if you are very far from the screen edge. Did I say fixed? Well, not really, the scrolling after the wave is janky. Here I took a break because I already set 4 hours to get it to this state. Things to do are now finishing the wave graphics and fixing the bug with the Yoshi coins getting reset when entering the room with the midway point. And with now I mean tomorrow. Alright, let's go, wave time. I tried to keep it as simple as possible and the end result looks simple, but it's okay. Then I fixed the Yoshi coin bug with the midway point. After that I found a cool feature of the Yoshi Wings level. If you enter it once, you won't be able to use any exits anymore, it just plops you back in the Yoshi Wings level. I had an explanation written down, but I don't understand what I have written. Have fun figuring this one out. We're doing good today, so I took a break here because of that. Later that evening, well, night, I wanted to fix the biggest issue. The camera scroll after the wave passed. While it works, it is still jank, like it is vibrating if the player is too close to the middle or going too far to the right at the very last screen. Well, the latter was really easy to fix. Just do the maths right. While testing, I also found that if you collect all Yoshi coins and do the normal exit, you cannot do the secret exit anymore. Fixing that was quite easy, just reset the all Yoshi coins collected flag for that level, or in my case for the first 8 levels. I still need to fix the camera shaking around. Let's do that on the final day, that works, right? Let's do one more thing, the overworld. Nothing to say about that one, it is quite simple. That's enough for today. I accomplished some things I wanted to do, except for fixing the camera. But tomorrow I will do that, I promise. Dum dum da. The final day and it already starts super good. I am not motivated to do anything. Well, let's just fix the vibrating camera, test the level for a bit and send it to SMWs. Well, I can't get it perfect, but it's now working okay-ish. I still get the garbage tiles, but it's happening a bit more rarely. Then I tested if both exits still work, which they thankfully do. Then I took a break, thinking about what I can do in the last 8 hours I have. About 3 hours later I remembered something. I need for the overworld some music. The choosing of music is always a big time waster, I really hate that. I used the Windfish Ballad from The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening and added the rain sample into the background. Quick test and I sent it to SMWs. Guess what didn't get fixed? The garbage after the wave has passed. I gave up. Super Mario World's camera is just super weird. In day 4 I talked about how I wanted the wave to work. Now let's see what I've actually made. Let me just give you this table I made very professionally, okay? As you can see, I didn't do everything I've planned. Pause the video for reading the table, because the video is already at 23 minutes and 20 seconds here, and I'm too lazy to just say it. I'm actually not surprised about this result. While I lost, I did pretty okay. 8 out of 13 is even kinda generous. I actually have nothing more to say about the result, at least nothing interesting. You got me, this episode has actually nothing to do with the project. Unless I just said that I will rework the wave idea for the project. Maybe make it simpler. Here's the thing I would do now, you know, with hindsight and stuff. First we changed the wave direction. Instead of going from right to left, it goes from behind to front, like in Super Ghosts and Ghost. Behavior is actually very close to that. If you don't stand on either solid ground or are behind or inside something like an alcove or cave, the wave will pull you straight down. Detecting if the player is inside a cave or outside is going to be handled by 2 custom blocks setting a flag. What the wave does to the player also applies to enemies, with some exceptions like bullet bills, banzai bills, twomps and torpedo tats, due to them being either propelled or massive rock. Maybe wooden platforms will rise to the top again, being temporarily off screen. We also need to make the water dangerous. For that we borrow a part of the forest flood sprite I made about 3 years ago. Looky, there's a video about that. We only need the tide pulling you down like a boulder, nothing more. Actually, I made that. No joke about this. I actually sat on my thick bottom down and made that. Even better, I will release this to the public, no need to hide this. Link to my GitHub down in the description. If it is on SMWCentral, I will put a link to that too. Graphics, example level and instructions are included, so everyone can use this without any major hiccups. It's super configurable because I like you and don't want you to modify code. Also making a separate video about the thing, just because not all people watch the series, especially not when the video is this long. Well, they have to wait until 2021 for that. Getting this episode out is kinda a Christmas miracle. I actually had time the past week, so I could finish this just in time for Christmas. I want to talk about the project a bit more, but well, you have to wait for that a little longer, because I am currently manipulating you to wait until the 30th of December for episode 11 of Modded Minecraft. There I will talk about the project, the future, and I don't know, I haven't really written the talky bits of that episode yet. Follow me on Twitter for no reason, or my Twitch where I will stream more often, trust me. Anyways, thanks for watching, leave a like or comment, I appreciate it. We will see us in like 6 days again on the 11th episode of Modded Minecraft. Don't forget to do the subscribe so you don't miss it. Bye! If you don't stand on either solid ground or are behind or inside something like an alcove or a cave, the cave will pull you straight Oh shit, I can't write. That's a script like that.